a roadblock for me was the fact that I'm older and I've been in my career for a while. And it's like, and I know we talked in the beginning about age discrimination and those kinds of things, but it's like, you put the best things forward and you show what you can do and you market yourself well and just put yourself out there like, this is what I offer. This is what I can offer you. This is how I can help you.
Welcome back to Answer the Call podcast, the podcast where we help Christians faithfully discern their calling and then practically land a job that's aligned with it. This week, I am excited yet again because yet again we have another client success story. I feel like y'all have been killing it this summer getting jobs, and I am honored to share or be part of the sharing of Joan's story. Joan, I've been waiting for this day where we get to talk about your incredible career journey and what you're transitioning into. So can you take a moment and just say hello, tell us about the job that you just left and the job that you are transitioning into in the next couple weeks?
Sure. Hi. So I am a pediatric nurse practitioner, and I have been in my current role for almost 19 years. I've been at a school-based health center working with adolescents, which, overall has been a great fit for me. It's been a great job. But over the last few years, I knew that it wasn't such a great fit anymore. And I needed more flexibility. I needed to change my job.
Mm-hmm.
So what I really was looking for was remote, part-time, make my own schedule, more of a coaching advocacy type role. I didn't even know if what I wanted existed, but I knew what I was thinking of. So my new role is with a healthcare startup called Solace, and it is remote, part-time, making my own schedule. So it's everything that I was looking for, which is amazing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's this unicorn job, I think we have to call it, because it really does check all of those boxes.
Right.
Yeah, and you described the dream for a lot of people, like all of those part-time, flexible, make your own hours, remote. And I think that's a really kind of what you just described of what you came from in your career and what you're going toward to is a really beautiful representation of just like a natural transition in life. And it's not like
Mhm.
I have to get out of this job because I like it's just not it anymore. It's no. This is a great career. I did this for a long time, but we're just naturally trying to transition into something new. Does that feel
Right.
right?
Yeah, like because it's like a new phase of my life.
Yeah.
And so it's like my current or my past position just didn't fit anymore. It did fit for a while, but not anymore.
Yeah. So can you tell me a little bit more about, like, before we even had our first conversation, kind of what feelings were coming up for you about this career shift, that you knew you were looking for a unicorn job, you knew it was time to change, but what were you feeling before we even hopped on our first call?
So I definitely felt like I need to make a change. And I felt that very strongly starting like in January. And the reason was one of my daughters was like, I'm expecting, and she lives out of state. And I just wanted to have more flexibility to work remotely so I could be wherever I needed to be.
Mm-hmm.
So that was like, okay, I really need to make a change. But then as I, started the process on my own, it was very overwhelming. I mean, I haven't truly looked for a job in like 15 years.
Mm-hmm.
So I was feeling, okay, it's time to make the change, but not really knowing how to effectively go about it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And also just bringing like healthcare industry into this conversation. I see this so much with people trying to transition out of healthcare or trying to transition out of like direct patient care, right?
Right,
You're
right.
still in healthcare industry, but just in a different way.
Hmm.
And y'all have a lot of skills and tools, and it's amazing what y'all do. But there is, I think, a missing part in the healthcare field of like those skills to really transition out of it. Like those, I think that can be hard for healthcare people. Does that feel true? Do you see that just in your own career and maybe the career of those people around you?
Yeah, I mean, I think people can get really locked in. I have to be in this one role instead of
Mhm.
realizing, wow, I have so many transferable skills. Like
Mhm.
I've done so many different things. And even this new role I'm going into is very, very independent, and it's very much well, I'm jumping ahead, but the one interview question that you said to me, you said make sure you ask them what's the difference between being great at this role and just okay at this role. And my interview person was like, wow, that's a great question. I'm like, thank you, Audrey.
I love that. I love hearing that.
Right, right. But what she even said was, well, you have to be able to be quick on your feet, figure things out. And that's something that is a huge transferable skill from what I was doing, not necessarily clinical or technical, but just that being able to figure stuff out on the fly.
Absolutely. I really appreciate what you're talking about with transferable skills and how the transferable skills are just that transferable, which I'm kind of honing in on that point because it means that you can use them both in healthcare and in a specific kind of healthcare position and in different positions. And
Yeah.
so many people feel locked in. And we actually talked about this on a couple episodes with our client Michael, who transitioned out of a sales job. Salespeople a lot of times feel the same way of like, I've only ever done sales. This is what I have to stay in. I've only ever been a nurse practitioner. This is kind of what I have to stay in. There's no other option for me. So, what are some other transferable skills that you saw, especially in that resume writing process, maybe that you were able to highlight that you felt confident speaking to?
Well, it was really great when Tim did my resume for me and listed, I mean, like 80 skills.
Right.
I mean, I was like, wait, what? I mean, it was really powerful because he
Mhm.
was able to break down, looking at all the things I've done, look at all my skills. So that was amazing to me because you do kind of think, oh, I do this one thing, but no, look at all the pieces to what I do. So there were things like, patient advocacy, coaching, obviously all the clinical skills. It was just, I mean, literally 80 skills or something like that. And I said, do
Yeah.
I put them all down?
Mhm.
And he's like, yeah, put them all down.
Mhm.
So there were endless skills that he could
Yeah.
kind of parse out for me. That was super helpful.
Oh, I that's just the best. I mean, people I think you even said it too. Like there's this emotional aspect of the resume process where you're like,
Yeah,
wait, I'm really cool. I've done a lot. And it's really nice to have somebody else tell me that so like plainly on a resume, like so just in your face. Like look at everything that you've done. Uh,
right.
so yeah, I know that the resume and LinkedIn process was really big for you, especially just doing a career pivot. That's what I'm trying to
Yeah,
say.
yeah, super helpful. I,
Hmm.
I mean, I never could have crafted the beautiful
Yeah.
resume in LinkedIn that he
Yeah.
helped me with.
Ah, amazing. And that's just one piece of kind of this story that came together to get you into this unicorn job. So let's back it up a little bit. I want to know, as you were getting into coaching, we met and I was like, please work with us. I'm obsessed with you. I want to help you. And you were like, okay, I'd love to join. And it made my entire life. You've been an absolute dream to work with. So when you were first getting the coaching process, what was it like? When did things kind of start to click for you, or maybe just start to make sense in a new way?
I thought the process was amazing, honestly.
What?
And the beginning of the process, when you do the inventory, the self inventory, I
Mhm.
mean, first I was like, this is quite intense. Like, I've done therapy. Are we doing therapy here? Like, but I get it because you really do have to deal with your mindset because
Mhm.
if you don't have this attitude like I can figure it out, there was a lot of work on what are your fears, get rid of your fears. Um, so all that prep work was very extensive, but it was important.
Good.
And I did see that eventually. In the beginning, it was like, wow, this is a lot. And then I even
Mhm.
contacted you in the beginning. It's like, I need another week. Like, I
Mhm.
can't get this all done. So I'd say the prep work was really critical. And I don't know if other career coaches do that, but I think that's just like incredibly important because even if you've got like everything right, if you don't believe you can do it, if you don't know that God is with you, I don't know how kind of like gut through the process because it's very discouraging, right? Like there's a lot of
Mhm.
no's, there's a lot of silence, but to kind of have that mindset of I can figure this out.
Mhm. Yeah. I thank you for saying all of that because I don't think other career coaches really do spend as much time in the clarity process as we do. Of course, there's always a process of like, okay, what do you want? You want to do X, Y, and Z? Cool, let's go for it. But let me tell you how many times I have someone come in and they're like, this is what I'm thinking. And then we end up in a completely different place because we really do want to take a no stone left unturned approach and
Right.
also spend a good amount of time in that clarity process because both of those things ultimately lead to a lot of confidence in what you do decide to pursue. And that confidence is what allows you to actually show up to an interview and say, I can do this job. No, you need me for this job. Like
Right.
you'd be lucky to have me for this job. Kind of just that very confident composure. That all begins with clarity and
Yeah.
actually like spending a good amount of time in that. So I do get pretty consistent feedback that people are pretty overwhelmed at first because it is a lot. And it also, if you're newer to self reflection, like it really is can be overwhelming for people, but that's okay. We've got time built in there, we've got resources built in there. Um, and I love helping people through all of that. So you started to see just like even throughout that process how things were coming together. And you did kind of come in with an idea that was a little bit different with where you landed. And so, can you talk a little bit more about kind of like the discovery of more kinds of jobs, maybe through the informational interview process that led you to um, be open to this opportunity you're stepping into?
Yeah. So the informational interviews were really, really critical because you would talk to people actually doing things that you didn't know that much about. So that process or that piece of the process was very helpful to me because I could ask people like, well, tell me about what you do day to day. And again, all of the prep work that you assist us with is critical because these are the questions to ask. And like this was so important in the information was okay. It doesn't matter what the job title is. You need to ask people. So tell me what you do day to day
Mm-hmm.
because that's what you're going to be doing. Um, so that was super helpful to have those clarifying questions when you talked to a person.
Mm-hmm.
So I got a lot of information from just talking to people doing all kinds of different jobs, things I didn't know about, things, and also to be like, oh yeah, I definitely don't want to do that job. Like I talked to people who were starting their own health coaching business, and pretty much I came away with, yeah, I do not want to open my own business. Like these people keep their full-time job as they're building another job. It's like I'm not in a life stage where I want to do that. I don't want to be working 60, 80 hours a week right now. So it was
Mm-hmm.
just very clarifying to know what I wanted and what I didn't want in
Mm-hmm.
terms of a role.
Yeah, the identifying things you don't want is huge. And I think can sometimes be discouraging for people because it's like, oh, I found another thing I don't want to do. But that really brings so much clarity. I actually was telling someone yesterday to start keeping a list of all the things that you don't like so that you can see that you're still making progress. You can see like, oh, I'm still working through something here. And then something will come that you like. And it's just a matter of time and number of informational interviews that you have, honestly, to gather enough information to make a good decision. So, informational interviews were valuable too. I remember you had said something, or not even just said something, but very much demonstrated throughout the entire process. You like to follow a process. I can tell, step by step. You did it. You did it perfectly, and I don't use that word lightly. You really were like, next step, I do this. Okay, cool, and then I do this. Okay, cool. So, how helpful was it to have the process laid out for you?
Unbelievable. I mean, because like you start with, like, I think most people, okay, I want to find a job. So you're just kind of scrolling around LinkedIn. It's overwhelming.
Mm-hmm.
And so your process was, okay, this is what you're going to do this week. You have these 10 things. You will spend 60 minutes per day or whatever stage we were in.
Mm-hmm.
You devote this much time, you do these tasks, and I meet you in a week and we talk about it. So it's like broken down step by step. And it was like, okay, I can do that. So it took this, incredibly overwhelming process of find a job to do these steps this week.
Mm-hmm.
And it was, I mean, it was so powerful. I mean, I could not have found a job with just my floating around LinkedIn thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so many people spend their entire job search floating around LinkedIn,
Right.
and that process, and I've said this before, but I'll say it again and again and again and again. That process leads to the job market telling you who you need to be versus bringing who you are to the job market.
Yes. Yes.
And so how did that change when you brought who you were? You knew your skills, you were confident in what you were able to offer, you had a really, really refined idea of what you were looking for. I mean, how quickly was it that you found a job that was exciting to you?
Well, it was like 4.5 months,
Mm-hmm.
right?
From start to,
Yeah,
yeah.
because I joined the call career in early February and then I got the job like at the end of June. Yeah,
Wonderful.
yeah, but it was, I mean, and I think it's helpful too in the beginning. You're like, look, it's normal to take like 6 months to find a job.
Mhm.
This is a big process. And it is a process. And you just refine as you go along what I like, what I don't like, possibility, and then finding companies along the way that you could resonate with. I mean, it's a big process.
Mhm. Yeah, and one key part of this process was that contact that you met with. The
Early on, yeah. So,
how yeah, tell that
so,
story.
so, so, in the beginning of my process, um, one of my contacts, informational interview was with someone named April. And I got to say, too, it was really great how many people are so gracious because that in the beginning, you're like, okay, reach out to strangers. This is so awkward.
Mhm.
And most people say no, but then, not everybody. And people are so gracious, like, hey, yeah, I don't know you, stranger, but sure, I'll talk to you. Yeah.
Yes.
So
It's
that's
very
really,
uplifting. It
it
gives you a
is.
good view of humanity.
It is. It is. And so this one person in particular, April, she was great. And she was pursuing health coaching. So we had talked about that. And then at the very end, she's like, oh, yeah. And I work for this company on the side. They're great. So I took notes whenever I did informational interviews,
Awesome.
just to kind of remember who said what. And then several months later, down in my job search, I see that company she mentioned was posting a
Mm.
position that was like remote, part time. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that's April's company.
Mhm.
So I reach back out to her and she replies right away. And she's like, oh my gosh, I'll refer you. And so then she referred me. I know. And then I did, I applied, I got an interview, and then, ultimately I got the position. But it was from that contact. And she was just someone who was friendly to me on LinkedIn. We didn't go to the same university. We did one common certification class, but I mean, it's
Mhm.
not like we had some big connection.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, that is so inspiring, and I hope that can be a piece of real evidence for people that making these connections really does lead you somewhere.
Yeah.
And we were just having a conversation on our group coaching call that you're very familiar with yesterday about how a lot of times people feel hesitant about reaching back out to people who have helped them already. Like, oh, they've already done so much for me. I don't want to bother them again, air quotes around bother. And we have to remember that these people, strangers on the internet, have already accepted your connection request on LinkedIn, said yes to a call, had the call. They're probably very kind people
Yeah.
and gracious people. It's okay if you reach out to them again. Of course, don't abuse that relationship where you're like asking them every single day questions. No, have, use common sense. But you're not bothering people. These people are, people love to help. This is something that I say early on in the process of informational interviews as well, is so many people love to help, and you asking them for that help is a blessing to them. They get to share their gifts with you. They get to share their gift of connecting you with other people, or their
Yeah.
gift of storytelling, or their gift of helping you get a job, whatever it is. They get to share that with you, and all you're doing is giving them an opportunity to do that, and then also creating the opportunity to find another connection that leads to a job. So it was someone in your informational interviews that eventually got helped you get the job.
Yes.
That's such a dream scenario. That's what I love to see. And um you had to overcome your fear of reaching out to random people on the internet.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, question for you. Obviously, that's what we're doing here. It's an interview. Um, have informational interviews at all changed the way you like think about making decisions?
Yeah, I think that it's it's good to stretch yourself.
Mm-hmm.
It's you think about transferable skills. It's like, look, you can do new things, you can do hard things. This is something new, but just do it. And then,
Mm-hmm.
wow, look at the fruit of it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's such a good lesson in all areas of life. And because we really do just get into these comfortable little bubbles of, oh, I just do the
Right.
same things.
Right. I've
And I'm
never
not.
done that before, so I can't do it kind of thought.
Mhm. Yeah, when really sending a LinkedIn message, like, let's take some perspective.
Right. It's
It
not a
is
big
not that
deal.
hard. It's not that hard, but it can feel really hard, and I do get that. And that's what you mentioned it earlier, a lot of our like mindset, working through fears. That's a lot of what we do, like getting over these resistances that we have, or these things that are holding us back, so that you can kind of fearlessly walk forward and just say, I'm going to connect with them, I'm going to talk with them, it's okay if they say no. And then you start showing up to interviews with that kind of energy too, and job offers come. They really do. So with this new path that you have ahead of you, what is most exciting to you about it, or what's just something that you're excited to, because you're starting in a couple weeks here. So what are
Yeah,
you
well, I
excited
think
to?
it's like we were talking about, it's something brand new, but through this process I just did with you is just like, hey, I can do new things. I can figure it
Mhm.
out. I mean, part of the prep work was the book, Everything is Figureoutable, that
Yeah.
was recommended. And like, there's just so many rich resources that kind of do help you change your mindset, which I will take to my new role. It's like, yeah, I can
Mhm.
figure this out. And it's going to be all new and different, but I, I have confidence and faith And I think a lot of it from our process together.
Oh, that's so good to hear. And that answers my next question too, which I was going to ask more about the effects of coaching on your career long term. But really, you've always had, it seems like, this spirit of, I can figure this out. I mean, you have 7 kids and a set
Mhm.
of triplets in there, right?
Yes, I do.
So
Yes.
you know how to figure things out, but being able to actually call that out in yourself and not just have it as kind of like a passive trait, but it's a very active trait of, oh, yeah, I can figure this out. That's actually one of my skills. That's something that I'm really good at.
Hmm.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, you're going to kill it in the new role.
Yeah, and I think a roadblock for me too was the fact that I'm older and I've been in my career for a while, and it's like, and I know we talked in the beginning about age discrimination and those kinds of things, but it's like, you just you put the best things forward and you show what you can do, and you market yourself well and just put yourself out there like, this is what I offer, this is what I can offer you,
Mm-hmm.
this is how I can help you.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that was super helpful.
Yeah.
All the mindset work.
Yeah, absolutely. Because at the end of the day, our jobs are to serve other people. And
Yes.
yes, we get paid for that, and that's our livelihood, and that's great. But your work, when it becomes fulfilling, is when you're serving in a way that means something to you.
Yes.
And if you can kind of figure out how to make that make sense to yourself first, because so many people keep these ideas of career and work just kind of vague in their mind. And really, what we're doing is drawing it into direct, like specifics, so that you can actually speak to it and you can know it, and taking the vagueness out of calling and clarity, kind of these words that can be vague and can be just kind
Hmm.
of thrown out or thrown around. And what we're doing throughout all of this is making it more specific so that you can land a fulfilling job. I mean, that's what we're doing. So, but I'm so glad that you mentioned just being later in your career, because I have a lot of people. We have people from 22 to 65. Really, we've seen people in that entire range, and um, people are worried later in their career. They're like,
Yes.
I'm not going to be able to get anything. So, Joan, would you mind sharing your age? Is that okay?
Yeah, I'm 62.
She's 62, folks, and she's got this new career that she's stoked
Right.
about.
Right. Well, I know I was hesitant when I was, reaching out to you in the beginning. It's like, oh my gosh, I'm going to be like the oldest person she's ever worked with.
Mm-mm. You missed it by a couple years. Yeah. Yeah, we see a lot of people mostly in their 30s and 40s, but I've got a couple gals in their 50s right now who are coming out of like 20 to 30 year long careers. And it's sometimes people later in their career are like, okay, like I'm good. I don't need to make any more money. I just want to do something fulfilling. That's sometimes the situation. And then I also have people who are like, no, I need to make money. Like life is lifing and I need a career that can keep us keep us going, keep
Yep.
bringing the paychecks in, but also adjust to my lifestyle now. Your lifestyle being, I got a lot of kids, I got a lot of grandkids, and there's a lot going on in my family. I want to be able to be there to support them. Um so these are all real life challenges to, or exciting things in life to work around. And if you do have that spirit, like you're talking about, that everything is figure outable, like we're going to be able to figure it out. And I really do trust that um, the Lord will make that clear as we're actively pursuing it.
And I would say too that joining joining the called career made such a difference with how to job search when you haven't job searched in so long, because
Yeah.
it's completely different.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a
Yeah.
complete game changer.
Yeah. It's, I have people who, what would the youngest age be? Probably like early 30s, who are telling me like it's so different. job searching from when I did out of college. Like, I know. Like, imagine how different it is for people 40s, 50s, 60s. Like, it really is, which can make navigating it so just exponentially harder. And that's really something that I love to do, is just like break it down for people. This is how you do it. If you do it this way, it doesn't need to be as hard as you might be making it, because you don't know how to navigate it. I mean, it's just like with anything, right? So there's so many more things that I could ask you. So many things. I could talk to you forever, Joan. But I will just ask you this final question. Thinking back to yourself maybe 6 months ago, or maybe somebody in healthcare or just in a similar position who might be considering doing something like career coaching or just even committing to that career change, what would you say to them?
I would say just do it.
Yeah.
I would say that you can, I know a barrier for me was, oh, I should be able to do this on my own. I don't want to spend all this money. But then in the end, this quote from my Peloton instructor, which was, nothing changes if nothing changes. And that was really, after that workout, I'm like, I'm gonna do it.
Wow.
Because you can just, try on your own all you want, but I wasn't getting results.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd say just do it, unless, like, how's it working for you right now? Is what you're doing working? If it's not, then something's got to change, or else you're going to be in the same position in a year.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I would say. I understand, like, everyone's like, oh, I shouldn't have to pay this money. I should be able to do it on my own. Well, how's it going? How's it working for you?
Seriously, Joan, couldn't have said it better myself. I mean, it really is, it can be as cut and dry as that. It's like, is it working? No. Have you applied to hundreds of jobs? Are you still job searching after months? Is that the case? Like, something needs to change. Let's do that together. I really just am so honored to support people through that. And I mean, kind of selfishly, I'm like, it's so cool to see it change. I love it. It's fulfilling to me. So thank you for highlighting that, like, own mental process that you had. Nothing changes if nothing changes. And there's one more thing I was going to say. I don't remember. So must not be important. But really, it's been such a pleasure to watch, and such a privilege to watch you go through this process. Oh, this is what I was going to say. What you mentioned about, like, I should be able to figure this out on my own. Oh, I feel that so deeply. When I initially signed up as a client, which is the fun part of my story, that I was a client first, I had the exact same feelings. I was like, I can figure this out. I should be able to. If I just, like, had enough time, I'd be able to figure it out. And then I realized for myself, I'm like, but you're not.
Right.
You're not figuring it out. So maybe just give this a go. And I think it's pretty clear to say that signing up for career coaching drastically changed my life. But I've already talked about that on this podcast, episode 150, if you want to go listen to it. So I don't need to go into that story again, but it's cool to see how you had a similar mindset. And I'm sure a lot of people have that out there, almost this shame of, like, no, I should be able to do this. I should be able to do it. It's okay to ask for help.
Yes.
And I'm here if you want it.
Mm-hmm.
So let's chat. Click the link in the description. But I'll finish this off by just saying, Joan, like I said, such a privilege to watch you go through this journey, see the transformation that has happened in your career. And I know you just closed out at your last job and there were a lot of emotions there. So I'm so glad that, like, good emotions, right? Of just gratitude. And I think you are such an inspiration for how you're just in these seasons of change and taking it by storm. And I can't wait to see how this new job works for you, and to talk to you soon.
Yeah, thank you for everything.
Yeah. Thanks for sharing your story, Joan.
Sure, my pleasure.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to today's episode. To get an even more meaningful head start into your calling, head to thecalledcareer.com, where my fellow career coach Audrey and I have created a whole suite of free resources and tools to help you get clear and get a job today. For those who are definitely ready to land a job or start a business in the next 6 to 12 months, we're here to help you biblically and practically discern your calling through coaching, reflection, and deep market research, identify the job that's aligned with it, even if you currently have no idea what you want, rebrand your resume and LinkedIn to translate your background to appeal to your future boss. P.S. We take this off your plate and do this for you. Also, we'll teach you how to land referrals and get attention from leadership through networking. Again, if that makes you nervous, we have these emails and LinkedIn messages literally written for you so you don't have to sweat. We're also here to give you unlimited interview practice so you're prepared to address every elephant in the room and knock selling yourself out of the park. Then we'll round out with helping you negotiate your salary so you land thousands more. Just so you know, recent clients have gotten $8,000 to $50,000 salary increases, even though they were totally non-traditional candidates. That's because we specialize in helping non-traditional career pivoters land jobs they're ecstatic to serve in. It takes work, but we're here to see you through until the end, when we're celebrating that day that you send me an email in all caps and you say, "Kelsey, I got the job." Then you could be on the podcast. But I'll be here until then, keeping you accountable and encouraged by meeting with you literally until you land the job you want, even if that's up to 6 months from now within our program. Apply to join at thecalledcareer.com, and I'll see you next week here at Answer the Call. Bye for now.